Um, you're going to want to have facilities in case I've like with this thing that just happened yesterday, this hurricane. In some parts of New Jersey, the pumps for their sewage system actually shut down. And so you can't flush your toilet or drain your bathtub or anything like that, because if you do, it's just going to stop up, and then the sewage is going to run into your house and all of that because everybody's flushing and there's no place for this to go. So they do have homemade toilets, and I actually have some links to some on Amazon. If you go to messagetotheblackfam.com, that's message the number 2 theblackfam.com. If you go there, there's links to a lot of my favorite survival websites. And there's also some things on Amazon, so you can either buy it straight from there, or you can just go and look and see what I'm talking about. And if you find a price that's better somewhere else, then, by all means, buy it wherever you find it cheap. But it's basically like a bucket, and you put a toilet seat over it, and then they have waste disposal bags that you can use, and you just use that as a toilet, dispose of it, as it fills up or what have you. And that way you can still use the bathroom without clogging up your toilet. It's very important to think about these things now, because you don't want to be in a situation later where you don't have it. And a lot of these things really aren't very expensive. You can even make one yourself if you have an extra toilet seat lying around the house in a 5-gallon bucket. The 5-gallon buckets you can buy online at emergency sites, or if you go to the grocery store, if you have a large grocery store and go to a bakery, the bakery section, if you ask them if they have any 5-gallon buckets, a lot of times they just throw them away. So it doesn't hurt to ask. They may just give it to you for free, and then you can use that for food storage, or you can use that as a makeshift toilet. Make sure that you have a shovel, because as the bags fill up, you're going to want to bury it outside. And over a long-term survival situation, if it's like a crap hits the fan survival situation where people are starving and it's looting and it's really bad, then you're going to want to make sure you're very careful when you're burying waste, because people aren't stupid. They'll see you burying that, they'll figure out what it is, and they'll know if it's coming out, that means there's something going in. They'll figure you have food in your home. So just something else. They have something called a water bob. I saw this a few years ago. I haven't purchased one. But it's like a plastic liner that goes in your bathtub. You can put it in there if you know that like a hurricane or something is coming, and you can fill it up. And that gives you gallons and gallons of water right there in your tub that you'll have access to in case you lose access to water or don't have clean water during the emergency. It almost reminds me of like in the 80s when we had the water beds and you filled it up. It's kind of like the latex plastic or whatever, and you just fill it up. Same concept, it just goes in your bathtub. So that might be something good to invest into, because not having enough water is probably going to be one of your biggest threats. Again, for people who think they can't store food because they don't have the money to do so, every time you go to the grocery store, there's some kind of canned goods on sale. Be it green beans, baked beans, vegetarian baked beans, not the kind with pork, whatever. Dry beans. Always look to see what kind of non-perishable foods they have on sale and just grab some. If you have to use a shopper's card, that's okay. You just don't want to overdo it. If you get in the habit of spending an extra maybe $5 or $7 a week, that's going to go pretty much undetected. That's not a large amount of money. So you'd be okay if you do that. If you just get if they have a sale on canned goods, like 70 cents or something like that, you get like 6 of them every time you go to the store. That's not a huge deal. You don't want to go in there and buy large quantities on a shopper's card. Or if you do, get a new shopper's card, put down a bogus address so that they don't know who it is, and pay with cash. Don't pay with a credit card if you want to do like big survival shopping using a shopper's card. You don't want that to be tracked back to you just because we don't trust the government. We never know what's going to happen. They may come confiscating or something like that. You also don't want to have any food supplies out where people can see them. You can store them in closets, under furniture. I mean, you can get creative and find places for them, but you don't want to just have them out, and you don't want a whole bunch of food in your pantry. You have some food in there. That way, if somebody comes and you know they're hungry, you can give them one can and they'll see the pantry and think that's all you have is just a little bit. That's fine. But your major food storage, put somewhere that's not going to be noticed, where people don't have free access to go in and peek around. You want to make sure that you have a can opener. More than one. Again, you can get it from the dollar store for $1. You don't want to be one of those people who have a whole bunch of canned goods and then one can opener, and then that breaks or you lose it, and then you can't open your cans. Don't be that person. Do not be that person. Make sure that you have, 3, 4, 5 can openers. So if you lose one, if one breaks, it's fine. And make sure they're manual can openers and not the electric kind. You want to try to store the types of foods that you would eat on a normal basis, or just real food. You don't want to, like the MREs that they have in military, you can buy those. They're kind of expensive. But I wouldn't do too many of those because they're made for soldiers in combat. So they don't want people using the bathroom while they're at combat. So a lot of times they're made to constipate you, which you don't want during this kind of situation, because constipation actually toxifies your body. It brings on headaches. It makes you lethargic. It makes you not feel good. It can give you flu-like symptoms, all kinds of stuff. You don't want to be stuck with a migraine when you're trying to defend your home because you're constipated. So you want to store things like, canned vegetables are not the best, but it's something. Oatmeal is something that has a lot of fiber. It's something a lot of Black people don't eat, but it's good. Oatmeal does not have an odor, so your neighbors will not be able to detect it. You can eat oatmeal raw. You can put oatmeal in a blender and turn it into flour. You can make granola for the children. Oatmeal is very versatile. You can eat it as a cereal. If you don't have power, you can put liquid in it and let it soak overnight. So like I said, it's very versatile. It's a good thing to have. I'm going to go over some herbal stuff. I would suggest that you write this down. These are just good things. They have medicinal purposes that are good to have around your house. None of these are expensive. None of these are nasty. So they're just good to have. Now, I will say, as far as health goes, now is the time to prepare for that. If you have an illness that you're on medication for, you need to get it together. You need to get your diet together now. You need to get your exercise together now. You need to get your weight down now and try to get off of your medications now. Because there will come a time when you will not have access to those medications. Number one, those medications are killing you anyway, but a lot of you are going to die even quicker if you don't have it. So get off your medications. If you're young, you're able-bodied, no reason to be on medications. I mean, very, very rare circumstances. Diabetes can be reversed through diet. Heart problems, blood pressure can be reversed through diet. Come on, people. We talking about it's warfare. We talking about we want to see the end of white rule. White rule is white medications too. So if you want to see the end of white rule, your medicines are going to be gone. Let's get it together. All right. First on the list is ginger. Now during emergency situation, you probably won't have access to fresh ginger, but they make ginger tea. They also have ginger as a spice you can put in your food, but I use ginger tea a lot. And I don't use it for medicinal purposes. I like it because it actually really, really does taste good. But you can use it for medicinal purposes. It's good for nausea, any kind of indigestion issues, morning sickness, if you have a pregnant woman. It's good for all of those things and more. So it's good to have ginger around. You can either just put the ginger tea in water like you would do a regular tea. A really good drink that I do is half water, half milk. Let the tea seep in it and just use whatever sweetener you want. It's really creamy, it just tastes good. But if you want it for medicinal purposes, that's what you're going to be using it for, is nausea and digestion. Cinnamon tea is another one. And It comes in tea bags. You can get the cinnamon tea. I purchase it pretty frequently. But if you don't have that, you can actually just use cinnamon. It's the same thing. There's no difference between the cinnamon that you put in cookies or baking and the cinnamon that you put in the tea bag. So cinnamon is good for controlling blood sugar. If you have diabetes, that's going to be good for you. It depends on how severe your diabetes are or is as to how much it's gonna work, how good it's gonna do, and that's why I said reduce or get off your medication now. Because some things, high blood pressure and cancer and things like that, if it doesn't get treated, you have a while. Diabetes is something, if it's way out of order and you run out of insulin or something like that, you're in trouble immediately, and that is a very gruesome and awful way to die. A lot of people died from diabetes in Katrina, and it was horrible. I've heard stories. It's just not a good way to go. Not that there's ever a good way to go, but that's not it. Get your diet right. But if you find yourself in a situation where you have to just have something to help out, cinnamon. So if you're a diabetic, stock up on that. You can get the tea or you can just get the herb. Get the spice or whatever, mix it in water, drink that. If you have high blood pressure, there is a tea called hibiscus tea. This is one of my favorite teas, actually. When you brew it, it turns red. It looks like Kool-Aid. So it's really good for children. They'll love it. But it tastes good. It has a mild flavor. It's kind of a fruity, floral flavor. I drink it just because. I just like it. But that's good with blood pressure. So like I said, get your blood pressure under control. But if you need it, in an emergency, hibiscus tea works. And sometimes just because of the stressful situation, your blood pressure goes up. So keep that around. Lavender essential oil is good for calming the mind. A lot of people are really stressed in that situation, so you can use aromatherapy. It does work to kind of take people down a notch. It's also good for skin issues. So, if you have some kind of rash or just anything, a minor burn or just anything going on that needs soothing with your skin, lavender oil is good. Lemon oil is a great disinfectant. It also is an energizer as far as aromatherapy, but lemon oil is a good disinfectant. So if you don't have a sanitizing gel for your hands, you can mix that. You don't want to do it straight because it's very strong, but you can mix it with some olive oil or vegetable oil, whatever you have around the house. If you don't have anything, more classy than that, just take a couple drops, put it in there, and rub it on your hands. It's a good disinfectant. Also on countertops, things like that. It's a really good disinfectant. So lemon oil. I keep peppermint and lavender around for headaches. If you put it together, you want to just rub it a little bit on the temples and across the forehead if that's where your headache is. You want to be very careful not to get it too close to the eye because the vapors from the peppermint oil can burn your eye a little bit. It's not going to cause any serious damage. It will just be discomfort. So keep it away from the eye, but just rub like the temples kind of near the scalp line and up into the head, and that will help headaches. Clove oil is really good for toothaches. It actually works as good, if not better, as Orajel. The only thing is it's not nasty, but it's strong. Clove is a spice that's used a lot in like pumpkin pies and sweet potato pies, things like that. So it's not nasty. It's just that the oil is really, really strong. So you only want to use 1 drop and just put it wherever your tooth pain is, and that will knock it out. The most important of these is cayenne. Cayenne is good for a lot of things. If you feel the symptoms of a heart attack or a stroke coming on, you can take cayenne and it will stop it. You can either use the cayenne powder or you can use cayenne extract. I actually know people in real life who have done this and it helped. So, it might not reverse any damage that's been done, but it'll stop it from progressing. So if all that you have is like the cayenne that you would put in food, that's fine. Take like a teaspoon of that or as much as you can, drink it down with some water, and repeat that every couple minutes until the symptoms pass or until you can get help. If you have the extract, that's even better. The extract is like a liquid form. You can get it from the health food store. Just put as many drops under your tongue as you can tolerate because remember, it's hot. But put it under your tongue, and that again will help to stop the symptoms. So just repeat that every few minutes until the danger is gone or until you can get help. That's emergency care for heart attack and strokes.